love this movie. It's like third time I've watched it, maybe.
Boy.
Can you imagine going to a theater and like just watching this movie? Like, watch some trailers, lights go down, and then Resonance of Fate happens.
I think people would be hooked. Probably up until like maybe the first 15 minutes, and then they'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then they'd just walk out.
Now, by hooked, are you assuming that with admission you get ecstasy or something? Like, what exactly?
Well, that's a fair point. I mean, if they gave out drugs, people would probably stay longer.
All right. So we're supposed to be taking a look at the story. So this time, let's take it a little bit more seriously.
All right,
So what
all
we're
right.
looking at here, we're allowed to do spoilers at this point because hopefully you've watched the game. This is going up right before the end of the game, so
Yeah.
you should basically know everything that's happened. So this is Leanne has escaped from being experiment number 20 with Sullivan's laboratory with the 20 kids in the quartz experiment.
Right.
And she knows that she's, according to like the expiration date on her quartz, she's going to die like now.
Right.
So she's decided to kill herself so she has some control over her destiny.
Sure.
And Zephyr is trying to be Indiana Jones, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, actually.
Though he's missing the hat. I feel like that's an important part.
It's true. They forgot the snapping sound effect. That definitely, there's no way he could do that without dislocating his shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Bone. I love how the rope broke, but his shoulder didn't.
Yeah, right? End of game. Wow, that was a lot shorter than I remember. How did we get 50 parts out of it?
You know what? That place that they just were is way more crowded than any place in Chandelier.
Yeah, no, there's like 3 dozen people living in the entirety of Chandelier, if like exploration of towns is any indication. Hey, baby, come here often. I will say, I like that Zephyr actually looks different here. Like, there actually seems to be a passage of time other than her having dyed her hair in the future.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really weird choice.
What, her having black hair now?
Yeah.
It is kind of weird, because there's no other point in the game where they really show that much. There's, like, 1 or 2 short flashbacks to like, when she was one of the experiments.
I'm really alive.
Not for long, you aren't.
I don't know how, but I'm alive.
So, the reason she's freaking out is, again, her courts basically dictated that she should have died at the stroke of midnight, I guess, or whenever the clock just struck. So, fun fact, I've done a little bit of research about
Don't look away.
about the finer points of the plot.
Okay.
I came across it while like researching something for the purpose of tagging our Let's Play. And there's a summary on Wikipedia that covers a lot of the plot holes, and of course poses about 100 new questions. But interestingly, it notes that allegedly the reason that Leanne survives now is because Zenith interferes, as if it has a consciousness. So the device that everyone prays to as a god, if you were to believe this summary, there's a couple of points in which it has a mind of its own.
Okay.
And, so that's an interesting thing to keep in mind as we go forward, trying to unravel the mystery of life and courts and whatnot.
Takayuki Suguro.
Oh. 1 year and several months later.
Why don't they just say 2 years later? Like, why do we have to be...
It's a very tight timeline, Ted. In order for the story to make sense, I'm choosing my words carefully. In order for the story to make sense,
right.
It has to be a year and several months later.
And she's dyed her hair for some reason.
Yep.
You going
She
out?
looks like 12 years younger.
Yeah, she
Get
really
ready
does.
to
She
head
looks
out.
a lot different.
You too, Zephyr.
Like, he looks a little different. She looks a lot different.
Yeah. It's weird seeing Zephyr with blonde hair. Because I just picture him with black hair all the time now.
Yeah.
Because the black hair totally fits.
To me, for some reason, I don't think about his hair at all. I only think about his face and the sunglasses. Like, he could be bald and I practically wouldn't notice. So this is way back at the dawn of time. We're at Cafe Chelsea, and we're getting our first story mission here.
This is an easy one. Just don't let it get damaged and you'll be fine.
Done. To tell the truth, I'm more worried about you. Mind the wrist. If anything happened to you,
The wrist?
where would
I
that
swear to
leave
God,
us?
I have no idea
God
what
only
that's
gave you one
implying.
body.
I must be
Take care of
forgetting
it.
something.
Too much jerking off.
Yeah, that must be it.
I'll try to remember that.
But so this is Sullivan, one of the two gentlemen who looks exactly identical, and he's just given us the world's simplest mission, to which we will receive a hugely disproportionate payday.
So Sullivan is the one with the weird...
Yes, that is actually somewhat important. Sullivan is the one, he's the only character beyond Vashon who has any interaction with this girl.
The wino albino is you.
Yes.
So aptly named her.
For interested parties, her name is Rebecca.
Really?
Her name is Rebecca, yes.
All
That's,
right.
True. And she is, in fact, crazy. And I'm not sure that the game really does anything to indicate to you that she may be somewhat mentally unstable. I don't know. Do you remember anything, Tech? Anything at all?
No,
that
I'm
makes
not...
her seem a little bit off kilter?
No, I mean, she's clearly drunk.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I mean, she just downed that entire glass of wine, and she's like an 8-year-old girl.
She, like, insta-chugged it.
Longevity. What else does Zenith's providence hold for us?
So Sullivan is basically like chief scientist of the political, military, religious figures known as the Cardinals.
I love Pater so much.
It's funny, because like when we first played this game, we both found him kind of off-putting, but he grew on us both really quickly.
He's like my favorite.
He's
His
so
haircut
much-
is amazing.
He's just so much fun. He's like the avatar of pure happiness or something.
I think
Fun fact, if you look carefully around Pater's room, like almost everything is heart-shaped. That ashtray, heart-shaped. His like lampposts, heart-shaped.
The mirror's
The mirror behind him, heart-shaped. I'm pretty sure even the curtains that you see for only an instant have like heart print on them. And in fact, the wallpaper behind Leanne right now appears to have hearts.
It's true. Love him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the subtext here. His whole home is really just screaming, "Love me."
You know, I totally did miss this connection thing. Because I was wondering how people could tell whether or not their quartz was theirs.
Yeah, this is the only time in the game they really make any indication that there's a way to know what quartz is associated to you.
what do you think?
Yeah.
And they gloss over it really quickly before you can really appreciate it. Because
Like-
you have none of the information about what quartz is or how it works in this world
Exactly.
until later on.
So
like,
like
this scene is lost on almost anyone playing this the first
And
time.
his like glowing eyes could totally just have been like a weird like magical realism thing that...
I mean, yeah, like, we know very little about the world at this point in the game. It could mean all kinds of things.
I
Yeah.
suppose it was a pretty jewel, but is it worth getting that excited over?
Haven't heard the stories? Every man,
And I mean,
woman,
in fairness,
child in
here's
this
the first
world
time
has
where we
their
really
own
talk
stuff.
about
Find it,
like
live
what
a
the
long,
quartz,
happy life.
what the meaning behind the
so
quartz
they
is.
say.
But
Yeah.
like,
Right? Oh, what a charming story.
you still like
Very
even
own
hearing it
star
this
from
much
the
this quickly after that, like, you don't really appreciate the meaning of that in the scene where it happens.
Yeah.
You're
That is
very
not how stars
own
work.
Star.
I'm not sure if the implication there is that like above them is another quartz quarry, like way down on. What is that? It's horrifying.
He's my favorite.
Stars
I'm
don't
gonna
come
get
cheap.
that mural for
It
the
takes
ceiling
plenty
over
of
your bed.
cold,
Oh my God,
hard
please
cash
do.
to make dreams like that
Danielle will
come
love it.
Yeah, I bet.
Is it really a dream if you can...
Honey and sugar, donuts. What is with all these signs?
Maybe it is.
The funny thing is that like the cutscenes in this game paint
They-
a picture of
yeah,
Basel
they-
as a completely different place than what
Yeah.
you see in the gameplay.
It's really weird because like the thing is, if you look at the game and you look at all the elements, they've clearly thought out like a really intricate world. But when you play the game, it's really weirdly vacant.
Yeah.
And like in its own right, it's
Zapper,
supposed to be like a
lunch is
post-apocalyptic
ready.
world, so it doesn't seem that
Alrighty,
weird
you know what time it
until
is?
you look at the cutscenes where it's not.
I was getting ready to go out.
Oh, Zephyr.
I should do that every morning. It seems like the only appropriate way to
Catch
greet
you
my
later.
roommate in the morning.
Oh my God, it's
I
perfect.
was getting ready to go out.
And he'll just be like,
Yeah, he'll just be like, silence for 12 hours.
meh. The weight of a life.
Oh, we're gonna do that? We're playing this game?
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose that's appropriate.
I realize now in retrospect that that's kind of the Bane voice.
It's kind of the Bane voice.
It's the closest to Bane voice I can do.
Yeah, that's fair at
yourself.
least.
As a matter of fact, I am.
What is with all the wine in this
Just how
game?
long have you
I don't know,
been
and
making
like it dries up kind of
long enough
quickly.
to be much
No pun
use.
intended.
Ah.
But like,
cook?
there's a lot of wine, like basically up to the point where you run down and like get the wine.
Derp face.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
She's just like, duh. But like, you know that mission where you go and like retrieve the wine from like the icy floor or whatever on 7?
Yeah.
Like that's like the last time wine is like really seen in the game.
Yeah.
There's like maybe like 1 or 2 other like quick showings,
here.
but like the first couple of cutscenes, everyone's getting drunk.
How is Zephyr so emo?
So good to see you again, Vacheron.
There's sort of this weird thing going on where at this stage of the game,
Dispense with the
they're kind of
formalities.
simultaneously trying to act like the world has been this way for a long time, but that it's also just become this way. Because everyone's like, what the heck's with Leanne?
Yeah, right. Like, no one seems to know anything, but also everything is exactly the way it's been for a long time.
Yeah, like nothing has changed, but everyone's clueless, which is really confusing.
Who's the girl?
Well, he really can't hold his liquor.
She's not your
Apparently
usual
not.
type, is she?
Zephyr saved her life, and she followed him home.
But like,
Saved her life. The boy?
Yes, she's become something of a fixture now.
I mean, if you
Perhaps
consider it,
he's changed after all.
it's implied that Vacheron, at the
mind,
very least, has been in
hero
regular
business.
employ by the Cardinals for
Of
some
course
time,
you
right?
Right.
But like
I can
a year
see
and
if
several
they
months
found
has
her and
passed
go
since
red
Leanne
to
joined him, and
Yeah.
none of them have seen her before.
And I
Apparently
Like,
not, yeah.
go unless I
like
ask.
even Gorigliano seems surprised when she first shows up. At least to my recollection. We'll see about that.
It was a tough year in several months. The economy was down, and, you know.
This is post-apocalyptic Earth.
Cardinals
I'm
just
pretty sure
weren't,
the economy's been down
That's a
for
fact.
eternity. Incidentally,
Real flowers aren't easy to come by.
the reason why everyone lives on
Yeah,
Chandelier,
You're right.
Oh, is that...
To the right.
Do you know what?
I do know why. I think it's like touched on really briefly at some point, like really casually mentioned.
Should we
If
wait till
it's
we get
pretty,
there?
who
I
cares
don't
if it's
know when
real
it
or
is.
not?
I don't know how long it'll take us to get there. I'm just gonna say it. Is that basically the Earth has become toxic? There's some sort of poisonous gas in the atmosphere that gives everyone cancer.
Good.
And Basel, together with Zenith, creates some sort of device that purifies the environment, but only in the immediate area around it. So there are people living on the surface of the Earth who are trying to survive in a
You can
completely
hold your
toxic
own, I can
environment,
use you.
who are shut out
Everyone
from
else
Basel.
is just dead weight.
Wow, I'm glad we didn't
Basel's
gloss over
basically
that.
like a bomb shelter for like a couple thousand people, and then the rest of the
Said
world
that
is just
1,000
chilling
times.
in the poison atmosphere.
I'm glad we didn't gloss over that really important part of the...
Yeah, and it gets
the
a little
world.
deeper than that, actually, later on. Later
Lot of
on,
good
that
men
becomes
out there.
actually somewhat relevant, except not also at all, really.
Okay.
But there aren't any graves. And no one ever visits.
No one dies and no one leaves. That's why I'm bringing back
sad.
Tony.
Being forgotten like that.
What? What is that from?
That's from my favorite acceptable TV short. Who's Gonna Train Me? I've
Oh,
made
yeah.
to watch that.
Let's
Bro.
go.
Babbage.
I love how she seems really moved by this, but she doesn't know the guy who died, and she like kind of doesn't know what's going on ever.
Yeah, I know. She's like completely clueless, but always crying.
Yeah, that is a fairly accurate representation of her character. I mean, she's had like a really tragic life. She was raised as an experiment that was meant to die on her
Yeah.
20th birthday.
Yeah, that's pretty...
My friends, let none of us forget Relit Frida's final wish.
This one's important.
She wanted a world free of suffering. And I swear to you, on her memory, it is a wish
Part of the problem with this
I
game
will not let die.
What's that?
is that, like,
We
they all
are
have,
the
like,
ones
titles.
who must make the change.
but none of the titles make sense to us without more context,
We
and we never
must
get any more
balance
context.
Yeah, we never have enough
Suffering
context to
from the
really
world.
make sense of it.
No one knew this better than Relit Frida. Together, we can make her wish a reality. We must each of us strive with all
Someone certainly thinks a lot of
Prelet
her
Frida's a
good-hearted
really interesting
Prelet.
character
hardship.
in that she is literally Sir not appearing in this film. There is no cutscene unless it's hidden at the end of the game. There's no cutscene that she is actually in.
Yeah.
But her painting is fucking everywhere. It's
Yeah.
in like half the cutscenes with Rowan.
And her eyes are always closed.
Well, because I'm pretty sure the picture is from when she died.
That's a good time to take a picture of someone.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to remember them the way they live.
But something that I don't think is
more than
ever
our
mentioned
share
in the
of
game is that she was
monsters
apparently
back
assassinated.
So you
really?
think
Yeah,
that's
she
why
was
there's
killed
been so
because
much
of her
guard
radical
work?
beliefs in relation to
Yes.
Zenith.
Where's Leanne?
She was like a...
Math.
What are they watching?
What do you mean?
They're totally watching porn.
Aren't you a sweet young thing?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Not getting cold feet, I hope. Whatever are
No,
you
they're watching
Another
some sort of
monster about to
nature show.
strike.
There's a lot of that going around.
See, it's a nature show. It's cold out, so his feet are cold, and they're hunting a monster.
Oh, something always happens just when things start getting good.
A monster here?
Hey, not wasting any time.
She seems very unhappy, but Zephyr just wanted to check on her. I don't understand.
Seriously.
But like I was saying, Pelfrida was assassinated. She is spearheading a movement among the cardinals. She's leading them. She has a belief that that people should be free of Zenith.
Come on, get your
Apparently,
ass up here.
someone at some point made Zenith, this machine that regulates all the courts, and
Must have been some monster,
bound
huh?
human lives to
give me a
courts in order to save them from like the toxins.
Right.
Like that's a big part of how it works apparently. It's never really
anything?
explained how anyone could possibly have
Funny.
figured out
I
something
was
as
about to ask you
asinine
the
and
same
bizarre
thing.
as that.
Yeah.
See a thing.
But basically everyone lives
Yeah,
at the
too
mercy
small
of
for a
Zenith,
good
like a
look,
giant,
huh?
like mechanized
Not too
clockwork
small.
death machine
Correct.
in order to stay alive.
Oh.
And she believes that people should be free of that and should be able to live like actual lives and just like let life run its course.
Maybe trouble at the power station. You up for a trip?
Yeah, I am. I'm good in the dark.
Giggity.
Oh, baby.
Hey,
It's funny that, like,
22.
they're not actually given this mission. They just decide that they're gonna shoot some
didn't
stuff at
see
the power
anything.
station.
Right?
Is there a
Zephyr?
reward for this mission?
He's good in the dark.
Will you
I don't recall, actually. But yeah, so basically, she believes that, like, we should try and, like, escape from under the thumb of the machine that keeps everyone alive so that people can live real lives. But some people didn't like that idea and killed her. But that's never addressed during the course of the game.
Alright, so the power's back on. Why are we... Oh, this is at the end of the...
Yeah,
We did it.
every cutscene. So we shot some stuff, maybe got a reward.
Right?
I have a general idea.
Yeah, these are definitely the
Probably
people who
waiting
you want to be,
outside.
like, fixing your power outage. People
Yeah,
who are
right.
just gonna
Maybe
shoot
you should
everything until they can break the machine that makes it run. Imagine if, like, someone unplugged Zenith. Everyone just dies. Ooh. Maybe should have put
Maybe
some
dark
redundancies
down
in.
But chandeliers is
Just like a
bright as
regular
ever.
Edison plug on the wall.
Yep.
Oops, I tripped. Sorry, bro.
It's hard to tell until you look at it from a distance.
Yeah. Well, with a name like
Everything's
that,
more
you'd
romantic
think
in the
it would at
evening,
least
isn't it,
give us
Tech?
a little
It's
more
true.
light.
I like that when they showed Chandelier, though, from a distance, you can still see that, like, the roads are hex-shaped.
Really? I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Hey, all done.
Who would, like,
Level up.
construct
Time
this
to go.
giant structure made of multiple levels,
Hurry up, Zephyr.
On, like-
We're gonna leave you here.
interlocking hexagons?
Yeah.
Like, it just seems really inefficient.
Yeah, totally.
I'm used to being alone.
Emo count 2. Let's see if we can glean anything interesting from watching this scene again. Because I
I thought
believe
I
this
might
to be
find it here.
significant.
Could you leave us alone? I promise I won't be long.
So wait, who's who?
Sullivan on the left, Rowan on the right. And apparently the game picks up right after her death, which I don't think I ever really noticed before.
I'll remake the world as she wanted it to be.
So her vision was that they could be free of Zenith, basically.
But Zenith was keeping them alive.
Yes, but
Your
like it was
indignation
also
is my
sort of
own as
like
well.
confining them to a life under set
May,
terms.
in fact, be the only thing we share. How can a machine rule our lives?
Yeah.
How have we fallen so low? Once men built a giant tower and were struck down for their insolence. But we face no god, only a machine. This is a challenge. Let us not fail in meeting it.
Is that his thoughts?
I don't. Yeah, like that was definitely him talking, but he wasn't talking.
We have an important job today.
Oh god.
Cardinal Guerriliano, was it?
I'm still a little bit confused as
And
to
don't
like
forget it.
the
He's
Cardinals
number
sort
2
of
cardinal
know
in
that
Basel.
Zenith is a machine, but they
Very
still
powerful
call it a
man.
god, but they resent it for being a
It'll be
god that
whole
is
lot
also a
easier
machine.
landing
Like
a
it's
really big
fairly
job than him in our
confused.
pocket. Perfection. Take a look.
I'm sure this will be fine. Oh my god, she's so offensive that even anime characters can't tolerate it.
Oh my god.
Why does Vacheron even know how to do that?
I love Vacheron in this game. It's so amazing. I want a spin-off game with just Vacheron.
Well, I mean, like, if it could be like an alternate universe where in the first cutscene, like, the two of them actually just die after Zephyr tries to save Leanne.
Yep.
And it's just called Resonance of Vacheron, and you get straight line attacks.
I'd play the hell out of that game.
From here, you're on your own. I wish we could help, but the rest is up to you.
I don't know.
Why did you do this to her?
This
she's
is so ridiculous.
she's already got the
To explore
BFF.
A whole other side of yourself.
If some like group of people just sent you a woman with a flower painted on her face, would you be like, oh, what a beautiful flower! I'm so glad you did that!
Okay, hold on. Are you saying that I am in any way like Gorigliano? Because that's really deeply offensive to me.
No, but like...
For the sake of this comparison, you're basically assuming that the person that you're questioning is thinking like Gorigliano.
I love that he lives in Cerebro.
Basically. But he's also got like a giant movie screen, which I assume that he's also watching porn on.
I bet you.
Nature documentaries.
He just like taps into like local security cameras and is just like watching people like in their bathrooms and shit.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like he's a cardinal. That maybe means that he has the power to do that.
What have we here? What have we here?
What have we here? Tech, what have we here?
Yes! What have we here?
Oh my god.
Before my
It
Say
never
it again.
gets any better.
a seeker of beauty with a certain je ne sais quoi. Yes,
what did he say?
There. See it? A feral quality.
Where does one even post this job? Because, like, for Vacheron to take it on, it has to be like a hunter job, right?
Yeah, right.
So someone's like, we basically need a concubine to look like an idiot and send him to the sketchiest motherfucker on Chandelier.
Don't forget the BFF.
I see.
It's so good.
I found the road! I let myself get carried away. I didn't mean to upset you, my dear. The artiste who created you, where is he?
I don't know what that
To
means.
have a word with
Are you asking who's my daddy?
Yeah. Who are you looking for? Vacheron? Her daddy?
Never thought I'd get an
Daddy
audience
does
myself.
not approve.
What do you think happened?
A miracle. God smiling down on us.
You mean Zenith, and he's probably smiling sideways because you live in him, sort of.
I have a commission from Cardinal Jean-Paulet to carve a statue.
I don't understand. So
What
one
I've
cardinal
seen
has
here
commissioned
today
another cardinal to
has
sublet
inspired
this
me in
job to a
ways
bunch of
I
strangers with a
didn't
concubine who looks
think
like an idiot?
possible. I would ask for your
Why?
assistance in this
I think he's gonna do the carving.
endeavor.
For Paulet.
You're making a formal offer?
But he needed a
I am.
model.
There is a forest of idols on part of my domain. You'll find a female.
So it's sort of like a
mannequin there.
lordship in that the title grants you
I want
land?
you to go there and
Or, like,
bring it
hex
back
land?
to my studio.
Or in a sky tower?
If
I
it's in your
guess.
domain, why not bring it here yourself?
A possibility. But you see, this time of year, the forest is filled with beautiful wood sprites. Not a safe place to be.
Beautiful what now?
Beautiful, dangerous wood sprites? You might have mentioned that a little sooner, don't you think?
I don't know if I would call them beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful does not seem like the correct
explain?
adjective.
Or wood sprites.
Grotesque doll monsters seems
Yeah,
like a more appropriate.
That seems a little bit more on the nose there.
Avoid the sprites if you know what's
Avoid,
good
because
for
that's
you.
how the combat system works.
Yeah, right.
The try-avoid
Oh, I know.
system.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Everyone runs away in triangular
This
formation.
is actually Metal Gear Zenith.
Here we are.
No, you could
Must
just
be
sort of
the
sneak
mannequin
around.
the Cardinal was talking about.
Tactical quartz
Kinda
action.
beat up.
Look, we found it. No
Maybe
problem.
that makes it more
That was easy.
artistic.
Now that we're basically trespassing, I'm gonna steal a bunch of flowers.
We pick some flowers?
All I heard was
Avoid the sprites if you know what's good for you.
What's really funny about that is him trying to do an
Cardinal
impression of
didn't say anything
Garliano
about picking
actually
flowers.
sounds exactly like Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time.
It's true.
Like exactly like him.
anything to write home about
Maybe it's him.
anyway.
Looks
No,
like baby's breath.
I know what that voice
You're
actor
right.
looks like, and he is
Just
not
a fact.
anything like Rumpelstiltskin.
Backdrop for what?
He could not pull off the gold
Take a look.
flaking skin nearly as well.
See how it brings out
Yeah,
the
it's
color
not a
and the
good
main
character
attraction.
trait.
Aww.
I love how like Vacheron spends all of his time trying to tell Zephyr to bone Leanne.
I know.
like 80% of this game or more is Vacheron just being like, so you're like two of the only attractive people in Zenith who aren't completely nuts, and you live in the same house,
So.
and I'm a perv, so go at it.
Yeah, totes. Bring this camera with you.
It's dangerous to go alone. Make some pornography.
A miracle of ideal beauty locked within.
It's a gross mannequin.
It is a gross mannequin. I'm not sure how this is supposed to
It's
help
probably
you.
got like bird
With
shit on
your
it and stuff.
senses.
Who
Well,
knows
yeah.
what kind of
Oxidized
waste those
film
wood sprites leave
deters
behind?
corrosion and gives
It's not
it
good.
A lovely, fascinating.
As you know, Zenith regulates
This is
the
just how I wake
lifespan
up
of
in the
every human. Zenith itself is made of corrosion-resistant alloys. The mainspring that provides power uses thermodynamics to maintain coiled tension.
Yep.
It can run up to 6,000
That doesn't mean
years
anything.
without maintenance.
No, this makes perfect scientific sense.
The quartz that Zenith uses to set human lifespans, however, lasts at the very most 100 years. The quartz deposits are arranged in a clockwise fashion.
That doesn't really make sense either.
The mapping continues. But based on date of birth, we can estimate quartz location.
That also doesn't really make sense.
Maybe their deaths are just something I have to accept.
What?
Okay.
This is not helping.
Okay, no, I promise.
That name
Okay,
sounds
so
familiar.
what's going on there is that
Statue from Gariliano.
after the death of Prelate Frida,
Yeah.
Rowan is completely
Let's go see what
distraught.
Cardinal Jean-Paulet
Apparently, they
is
aren't
doing.
actually married. They're
Okay.
close friends, and he probably wanted to bone her, most likely.
This tiny world.
So after her death, Rowan commissioned Sullivan to try and understand how Zenith works.
Okay.
And he researches it, and he comes up with that chart.
Wow.
And at some point, oh god, it's the worst fucking mission.
Very highly of you. I'm looking forward to working
It's
together.
Allegretto!
Jean-Paulet!
Don't you miss Eternal Sonata?
Such a douchebag. Like the biggest douchebag. Look at him.
Model for my statue.
But like every don't you just love how everyone on this game creeps on Leanne at all times? She just shows up, they're like, ooh, a girl! Like, I don't understand, why is there no rational person on this whole, like,
You like it.
giant phallic
Cardinal
air
Garliano
purifier?
has given us lowly mortals
No, but seriously, okay, so we have, after Frida dies,
Right.
Rowan thinks that because Zenith is a big machine that controls life and death, that there will be a way to use it to bring her back to life. But so far, no one understands how to do that.
Okay.
So he gets Sullivan to do research and to try and, like, figure that out.
Sullivan's the white one.
Yes.
Got it.
If by white you mean white-haired.
Yes.
One thing before
yes.
you go.
Hey, you know what?
What?
There are no black people in this game.
Oh, absolutely not.
This game is super racist.
This game is super duper racist.
All right. Go on.
From what I understand, though, a lot of, like, Japanese, like, depictions of things are fairly racist.
Really?
Yeah. Like, Japan's kind of a racist country, actually.
Interesting.
I don't think so.
Oh my god. That sounded really forceful. All of my ribs!
What's so special about this, anyway?
So, like, basically that previous scene that doesn't
Inspired.
make any sense unless you apparently
Telling you,
do
you should
your
be honored.
homework.
I still don't get
Like,
it.
the whole point of it is that Sullivan is, like,
Above, my God.
figuring out how the courts works. Like, how Zenith
Believing in
operates,
something makes him
like,
happy.
how
Who's
it
it
controls
hurt?
lifespans and shit like that.
Right.
Okay, so...
This will continue to
what about
build
you
and become
people
only
who
more
don't believe
confusing unless you've done your homework.
Faith brings order. Order brings stability.
Stability leads to anger.
Something to be
Anger
said
leads
for
to fear. No, wait, that's something else.
And I thought all you believed in was money.
It's all about the money.
Don't
money,
get me
money.
wrong. I'm talking about society in general. What I believe.
Vacheron, the future's greatest philosopher.
Salvation.
By the way, I love that like the world is polluted by toxic gases,
Yep.
and so their solution is to like build a giant tower and then just like use like machines that produce toxic
Like,
gases.
yeah, like grimy steampunk smokestacks and shit.
for like no reason.
I also
Like they're
love-
moving a statue. Like you couldn't do that some other way. What about the balkers?
You know what really makes me mad about this? It's on rails. Push the damn thing.
Right?
Kill all the monsters, then push it. Like, that whole section of the game is really unnecessary.
Enormous and yet insignificant, all at the same
But I love that, like, once Vacheron somehow miraculously gets it working, just like the power station,
Right.
Zephyr just kicks it and it runs.
We made it.
You keep acting like the cutscenes are likely to have killed us. Hey, who's that charming fellow?
God feel anything?
Oh my god. He's so emo. Oh, he killed someone.
Yeah. This is where stuff starts to get, air quotes,
Why doesn't he
interesting.
Save the people who deserve it. If they're dead, it must be because that's what he wanted to happen, right?
This is assuming that you believe that Zenith is actually sentient, which it maybe is.
There aren't any miracles anymore. So what's there to believe in?
I love how, like, well, I mean, like, allegedly people have been living in Basel so long that they've sort of forgotten what Earth was,
Uh-huh.
which is why people don't, like, regularly know about, like, the cancer gas and all that.
Right.
But, like, it's kind of funny to me that, like, no one remembers a god before Zenith. So everyone's just sort of like, wait a minute, Zenith's a machine? Well, then God doesn't exist. It's like, there was religion before.
Enormous and insignificant at the same time.
I love how Zephyr like murdered all those people and it's just like, whatever.
Well, it's kind of an interesting situation, and this actually calls into question something I hadn't realized before, but I think there's a timeline issue with this game that doesn't make any sense.
Really? That's surprising to you?
You guys would have a whole lot.
Yes,
In which,
and
which specific one?
Well, okay, here's the thing. I was pretty sure that Sullivan
Answer.
didn't manage to figure out how Zenith
Worlds
works.
in which we live.
Well, maybe it's not an issue.
See the world through one pair of eyes.
Leanne isn't the only one of the group who was one of Sullivan's experiments.
Right.
Zephyr was too.
Where do you think
He
it
was?
came from?
Yes,
How do you know that?
because I did my homework.
What the? No, this is bullshit.
This-
okay,
oh, okay,
unless
no.
all this shit is revealed in the final cutscene,
It's gonna
I
be
call,
one.
I call super bullshit.
It's gonna
on
be
that.
one hell of a cutscene. It really is.
Can't say I have.
But what about your...
But so apparently, what happens is that
Could you jump
well,
off
it's
this
actually fairly complicated.
No, really?
Well,
Well, no.
I'll put it this way for now: is that
There wouldn't be any point.
Sullivan encounters Rebecca. Rebecca's that weird fairy child who
Right,
drinks,
the
with the
Weno
drinking
Weno.
problem.
am I right?
Sure,
He
but- so what if
realizes that she isn't from Basel. She is a human who's mutated
Hey, ho!
enough that she can survive the toxic
Moron.
gases of Earth.
Are you ever gonna grow up?
So she's like extremely powerful and like quote basically
I'm
immortal.
out of here.
Okay.
One of
So
these
Sullivan
days, you
somehow
better go
figures
look
this
before you
out,
leave.
and when he
Make me
encounters
crumble
her,
once.
he starts an experiment to try and give these characteristics to another person, someone from Basel, so that people can theoretically live a life outside of Basel.
And that's what Leanne and apparently Zephyr is.
No, that is specifically what Zephyr's experiment is.
Our research
And allegedly, it is a success. However, it made him crazy. It made him mentally unstable, just like she was. And so he went crazy and killed a bunch of people, allegedly including his sister, which is never mentioned anywhere.
If there's something you'd like me to use.
Where does all this fucking information come
I have
from?
no earthly idea. I have no idea how anyone could
Is
have
there like a
figured
fucking
this out.
novelization of Residents of Fate that comes with the game that we didn't get?
I mean, I assume in Japan there must be some crazy collector's edition, because in Japan this must be the most popular title of all time. Okay, so here we are.
Wait, what's the ring?
The ring is literally just a ring that belonged to Rowan, and Sullivan asked Rowan for something that he could bind to Zenith,
I would never have
so that he could control it. Because at this point, Sullivan's basically figured out how Zenith works and can control it. And so Rowan, who's somehow the second in command after Prelate Frida died, he's in charge. So Sullivan agrees to give control of God to Cardinal Rowan.
Oh.
There is actually a really interesting plot with Rowan that isn't very well addressed.
None of it's well addressed. None of any of this
No,
plot
but
is well addressed.
I mean, like, some of it is like a cool idea that's just handled terribly, but there's actually a really cool story with Rowan, I think. And if the game was like less obtuse, it would be a really cool story. Because, like, if you'll recall, a lot of Rowan's interactions for the rest of the game are these sort of like soliloquies about you know, like, oh, like, how does God work? And, like, I don't understand any of this shit. But, like, the reason for that is because he was in charge of, like, religion, and now he controls God.
Well, that's good. That's what you want.
Well, like, it's like, really deeply messed up. And so, like, he spends a lot of this game trying to reconcile the fact
I understand.
that he
Of course.
should
We're on
be,
our way.
like... He believed in God, but now he controls God because God was an inanimate object that his head scientist figured out how to control. Just like everything in this game.
Where to?
Chandelier. Cardinal Barbarella awaits.
Barbarella.
Barbarella.
I like how your voice goes like black or something when you say that.
Barbarella.
You're like trying to be like...
Saucy.
I don't know. Trying to do,
Flux!
like, Shaft theme song or something.
Oh god. This is the only thing in this entire game that's like well fleshed out is like the lecherous parts.
It's true, which again, it is a Japanese game, and I don't want you to forget that. Now, if you'll notice, nothing here is a heart. Just thought that was an interesting thing to know.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Is it? I was being facetious. I mean, it's not a heart. I might expect her to be more inclined to have hearts everywhere, but, like, it's not actually that interesting.
Damn you, woman!
What?
And yet...
He thinks that she's, like, teasing him.
This is not how boobs work, you guys.
I don't think you know very much about boobs.
It's just nothing like real meat.
Oh my god.
I definitely believe that is how she would phrase that. I'm not sure what you're incredulous about.
It doesn't get any more real than that.
It doesn't get any more real than that! Those bunker busters.
Fire with my trusty magnum.
He's gonna fire at with his magnum, which is a gun, because this game's all about guns.
Focus. Come on, Vacheron, keep it together.
I love the weird, unnatural dance sequence in his own head.
Yeah.
Grapes.
Like it would be one thing if it was just like he was imagining himself dancing, but like it looks so weird and unnatural, and he keeps like pausing at weird times. Like, why would he imagine that? Like, what does that represent? I love that she like read his mind there. That makes me really happy.
I also find it really funny that she's like, I'm in the middle of dinner, go all the way down like 6 levels, get a bottle of wine.
Like, murder a bunch of monsters.
Yeah, and then come back so that I can have it before my next course.
Yeah.
It's like,
Which one do you think we should take?
Well, look, it only took a couple of seconds.
We'll give one of them to our client.
Give one of them to our
We'll
client.
take care of that one in the bar. What's this?
What have we here? What have we here? What have we here?
100% Cabernet Franc.
What about this one?
Swell.
he didn't even look at it.
We'll switch the label.
He used that internal dance space to quickly analyze both of them.
That's not a power I want.
The internal dance space?
Internal dance space?
Why not?
What's useful is that?
What's useful is you can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind.
Not every day that Vacheron has a lovely lady at his side.
Oh my god!
Isn't your face just adorable?
I love that this guy gets this one scene. I really remembered him having something else, but this is really it. This is...
Really?
I think this is just the one time he shows up in this game.
Not, it actually makes me feel stronger. I tell myself I can't cry or I'll ruin my makeup.
What? What's wrong?
This game is actually really offensive now that I think about it.
Yeah, you know, if you put all of the scenes together, you realize how, like, I mean, you get a sense that there's a bunch of creepy people in the world, but like, is there anyone like even Zephyr like treats her really badly?
Yeah.
Like the game is really offensive towards women.
People are constantly shitting on women. There's no
and
black
like in
people.
her own self-image is like, I can only fight in gun battles if I remember that crying ruins my makeup. Like, oh, that's not okay.
Try this. It's waterproof. You can cry all you like. For those
He's using his external dance space to showcase the power of makeup.
Also, did he just make a menstruation reference?
What did he say?
For those heavy days?
It might have been an oblique one. I mean, I assume he was like directly referencing crying, but I think that may have been a subtext there.
Why are those two hanging out?
I know this comes like way out of left field. Like these two are just friends now. It's especially weird because like they never hang out with any of the other cardinals. So like, why would they suddenly be friends with Pater?
I love how he's like, it takes anything to set you off, and he like looks up into space and is like,
This is an old vintage back from when time still meant something. It's very special and also very temperamental because it's
temperamental vintage. Yep. I mean, I don't know much about booze, but that doesn't make any sense.
Freeze time.
This is all bullshit.
If only I could have frozen time the way things were.
When?
Oh, but it's
when you were an experiment?
I think she's probably referring to Juris.
What?
Well, her like pseudo dad.
Oh yeah.
The guy who was like directly in charge of her experiment.
Right.
And like she bonded with like a father figure. She was one of the only people who grew old enough to like be a person from that experiment. It's like one person died every year. It's super fucked up.
Considered alcohol a drug.
We're one and the same.
Booze.
We have pills, you know.
Oh right, her.
No, thanks.
She shows up like twice. What the fuck?
Well, at least you have taste.
What's her name? Like Veronica or something? Something with a V, I think.
Sounds like something they would use.
But where's his usual drinking buddy? Rebecca. The wino albino.
A blended malt. Mix grain and malt whiskey together. And you have a rich, subtle flavor neither has alone.
Are you coming on to me? I'm asking you, Tek. Are you coming on to me?
That's not how blended whiskey really works.
Well, the whole point of the scene is so that that Rowan will understand how to combine things for Zenith to work later.
Each part providing something
Foreshadowing?
the other.
No, not at all. I'm trying really hard. I'm trying really hard to make sense of the scene where she describes how whiskey works.
What is with the obsession with alcohol? Look! What is going on? Everyone is drunk all the time.
No,
I never noticed this before.
Well, no, the thing, I'm pretty sure this happens exactly once. This is like all in response to that one mission where you get the wine, and then it's just this series of cutscenes where everyone's getting drunk. Like, I don't know why there's like the alcoholic chapter of the game.
Even the 8-year-old winged girl.
I don't know how old she's actually supposed to be.
Grace of Zenith.
Okay, here he's figuring out his own plan.
Of God. How I wish I could remain by your side.
So she's totally crazy, as we've established.
She's fucking nuts.
But like, his objection is he hates that he has to live in Basel. He hates that Basel's the only safe place for a person to live on Earth. So there's two paths that he and Rowan are taking to try and get free of Zenith. Sullivan's plan is that he wants to mutate people so that they are as strong as she is and that they can survive outside, so that they can literally just leave Zenith behind.
This is better.
Whereas Rowan wants to control Zenith, and I think part of that is because he wants to try and find a way to use its power to bring back Frida, who he probably loved but was just biffles with.
If you could speak.
That's what his ring says on it.
Yeah, the ring that controls Zenith says biffles.
I mean, there is the BFF. It's not outside the realm of possibility.
It's true.
It will be problematic if she dies before we have the results. Do whatever it takes to keep her alive. As long as she lives, I don't care what happens to her.
I love how everyone has to like stand ominously all the time.
Yeah.
Like no one can just like have a conversation. They always have to be like
You found your quartz, but not your freedom. Even death's release is denied you. Your star is supposed to bring you good luck.
Here's the thing I don't get.
Cruel joke that's turned out to be.
So when we see those quartz deposits, right? It's this giant ceiling of quartz.
Right.
How do you determine whose quartz is whose?
Well, if you remember, Sullivan said something about, like, because somehow Zenith, like, chooses quartz for people, like, new people who are born, in, like, a clockwise fashion. Like, if you know their date of birth, you can have a relative idea of where their quartz would be located.
Yeah, but, like, quartz is not doesn't grow in a finite way. It's a continuous, like, blob of...
Yeah, but then you just do the Pater thing, and you hold it up to light, and then if your eyes glow, then you've had too much spice or something. I don't know.
Right, but if you're like hammering out someone else's quartz, how do you know you're not killing someone else in the process?
You do know that. You just hate everyone.
Okay.
I wonder how everyone's doing.
I wonder how everyone's doing. You mean the 19 people in the death experiment? I gotta be honest, not great. Not great.
There's something really uncanny valley about him.
Yeah, he looks really weird.
Right?
Yeah.
What if I were to tell you, you can leave
He's drinking a glass of sweet and sour sauce.
You should get ready right away.
Right away?
Yes. Now.
So, like, yeah, they have this sort of, like, pseudo-father-daughter thing going on. Which is why she seems very attached to him, even, like, now, in the present. Which is why I think she makes that comment about wanting to freeze time here.
Right.
If you like.
If I get in a fight, will you come scold me?
Sure, if you like.
I'll probably get in more trouble while you're asleep, so will you take naps somewhere close by?
What?
You big
This is
liar.
really upsetting.
But you will come to visit on my next birthday, right?
Yes.
Yes, if I haven't been executed for treason.
And if you haven't died for some weird machine god.
Yeah.
Again. Because I'll be coming to visit you.
Because at this point, I still don't think she knows how this works.
Always.
Which is actually kind of weird, because, like, early in the game, which is closer to the present, she, like, doesn't really know how quartz works because of the whole Pater thing, and she's the one who has to ask about it.
Right.
But, like, I thought, like, at this point, like, somewhere around now, she found out about the quartz. Or maybe she just finds out that she's supposed to die? I don't know.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas!
What the fuck?
What's going on? What do you think you're doing?
Oh yeah, this is actually fairly significant.
Let her go.
If you think about it, if knowing that Rowan's primary motivation is to try and bring Frida back from the dead, it shines a sort of new perspective on Leanne. Like, Leanne's existence, Leanne's, like, being alive is really significant to him because she should be dead.
What should I do with her?
So she's, like, defied the Zenith system.
She's done what he wanted to do.
Right, but he doesn't understand how or why.
A world where people live life as they want to.
See, and there's the disembodied voice of Frida, but she still doesn't show up at all.
I thought that was Leanne's voice.
No, but the voice was talking about, like, Frida's dream, and it's Rowan. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Frida.
Her fate is the same either way.
So what was the point of all this? If you're just gonna let them do what they wanted to do, why do you have to, like, haul her around and beat him up. Like, you've succeeded in doing nothing.
Yeah, we sort of pointed to that last time, and I still don't have a better explanation for you. It seems really... I mean, like, the best I could figure is it was like a really guttural response, like, what the fuck? And he just freaks out and does that, and then he thinks about it. He's like, no, I guess it's fine. I just don't understand. I mean, I'm kind of surprised he lets her go. Because she seems really important.
Am I dying?
Yes, I am the Angel of Death. Come with me.
I am the Angel of Death. I'm getting ready to go out.
Is that you?
It is, and you're not dying.
This is the cold, right?
Oh, yeah.
How's she doing?
She's pretty out of it. How'd it go?
Oh, Barbarella's fridge?
Barbarella!
Fine with it. Although she figured out we switched the wine on her.
Kind of surprised we never got a cutscene for
It's
that.
your own damn fault. Now let's
Yeah,
go
I know,
get
right?
Leanne some
Like,
medicine.
any chance to have more bouncing boobs, why would they pass that up?
It's really weird that she, like, her character is even weirder to me based on the fact that she only shows up basically that one time. Doesn't she?
Okay,
I don't
for
think
colds,
she
we
gives you
have
another
this
mission.
or this. Take your pick.
Bring both.
I love how all these giant warehouses only ever have 2 of anything. It's like 2 bottles of wine, 2 cold remedies, that's it. Giant warehouse.
One mannequin, though. There's one mannequin at the end of that.
Is that Leanne, or is that the prelate?
That's Leanne.
You sure?
Yes. This is... at the end of that previous cutscene, where she, like, escaped, she took this journal, Juris dropped it. So this journal is about his research about the experiment where all the kids die.
Oh, so now she knows what's going on.
Now she sort of knows what's going on.
If I have to die, I'll die on my own terms.
Oh, those are the clothes she was wearing when she... Right, okay.
Yeah. So she just... Yeah, that's her learning that, like, when she's supposed to die, which leads into when Zephyr saves her and picks her up for the team, basically.
Welcome home.
Hi, I guess.
They both said, okay.
All you really need is within your grasp.
Weird.
Who said that?
I don't know. That's a great way to cut away from that.
Yeah.
Right down to my bones. So, this is what those scientists have been hiding. My grandma used to put me on her knee and tell me stories about this place. On second thought, maybe it was my grandfather.
What does it matter?
I found it.
God, he looks so creepy.
His star in the heavens will have good fortune the rest of his
Spoiler alert, I'm really glad we killed that guy.
Yeah, right?
Just look at them all, right up above my head.
What good does this do you, though? He hasn't...
If the legend is true and Grandma'd never lie to me, Grandpa, I'm not so sure about.
I don't get this.
Oh, would you look at that?
He hasn't found his quartz, he just found a giant room full of it.
Yeah.
I'm alive! You all saw it, each and every one of you!
There's no one else here.
I mean, he had minions.
There's
but
no
they're
one
not
else here.
rendered in this cutscene.
Don't shoot the ceiling, there's people living up there.
Sort of. I mean,
the
like...
The star vein!
I think there's some implication that Zenith sort of, like, harvests the quartz by itself, and that, like, the quartz there hasn't yet been assigned to anyone. But that still doesn't explain why he, like, doesn't die when he shoots himself. But I think all he really did... I think he's just supposed to be crazy, and he just played Russian roulette and won single player.
Right.
Probably not.
It's kind of a stupid thing.
It's not a great idea.
This blue light everywhere. What is it?
He's the same as the stone we gave to Pater?
That's right. This is a quartz vein.
How does no one know
if we
this?
weren't working for the Cardinal.
Vacheron knows this.
They wouldn't let us near a place like this.
Are these rocks really such a big deal?
Why does no one know how
I
this
don't
works?
question the
Well,
motives
I mean,
of
like,
my
it actually
debtors.
kind of makes sense, because, like,
All I know is that
the
we
quartz
need
is
to rid the
really
place of
important
some
and really valuable.
unwelcome guests.
So, like, anyone outside of the Cardinals
trying to make some
probably
point?
doesn't have a great chance to know about this.
Not quite. An old division of the
I
Cardinals.
mean, like, I could
Army.
actually believe that, like, the ordinary
Have you
people
lost
living
it?
in
Let the
Basil,
army deal with
like,
him.
wouldn't actually
I
know
don't
anything about
question
the
the
workings of
motives of my
Zenith,
betting.
especially since they treat it like a
Forward
god.
march.
Like, they would probably just believe that Zenith is, like, you know, a mystical deity,
Yeah,
as
I
opposed
suppose
to,
it's
like,
in
a
their
big...
best interest to make people believe that it's...
Yeah.
Well, what have we here?
What have we here?
You not bad, not bad.
Skips past my guards. With a whole lot of artillery.
Something like that. And it's never good to side against him. Surrender now. Make this easy.
But that makes us brothers. Why not rule the world together? Send chandelier crashing down.
This is definitely that chef from Chowder, by the way.
No, you're
I can't not think about it anymore.
No, you're totally right.
Sounds
Like,
too
every
much
time
work.
he talks, it's like, it's that guy.
We'll just take you out, collect the bounty, and call it a day.
Ah, so. My grandma would put me on her knee, and this is what she used to say. People without a heart had no right to live.
So now you die.
What about your grandpa?
Who cares?
Why does Zephyr ask that? He wouldn't have been around for that first monologue.
I know, right? So I think that was the first major boss.
Yeah. I think that's reasonably fair to say. I mean,
First
there's
character
certainly...
boss.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we fought, like, you know, that giant electricity
You just missed the fun.
Tessatortle?
thing, yeah.
Come all this way to pat us on the back?
You have women and children helping you?
Zephyr and Leanne.
Again, why don't the Cardinals know
Actually
this?
tougher than they look.
It has been a year and several months.
Zephyr and Leanne, you say?
He knows both of them. Like, at this point, he's fairly familiar with both
Hard to
of them.
believe
He
that
should
all
not
of
be
this is
surprised by their
quartz.
appearance.
It's like stars in the sky.
Thank you for making
Hey,
that reference
I
again.
think that piece is gonna fall.
Where?
How did you see that?
The sunglasses help block out everything but what he was trying to look at.
How sad. It seems like such a waste. It's beautiful, isn't it?
The thing I don't get, like, how did... Like, I just don't understand, like, the occurrence of the quartz here and how they have enough to last them indefinitely, or, like, how it got there, or why.
I don't understand how any of the, like, natural occurrences happen.
Yeah,
in
it's
this
really
man-made
confusing.
structure.
Like, I understand the man-made structures part, because, like, they were trying to live within, like, basically the umbrella of Basil, which, like, keeps them alive.
Right.
So, like,
That's more
they built
delicately
around and
glass,
eventually
though.
inside of that machine.
More
But,
fragile
like,
than
I don't
any
understand the natural aspects,
and
because...
sharper than a razor.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, why
sound
are
like an
there
expert.
forests and caves and shit?
I am. My work
I mean, the Forest of Idols is
revolves
sort of a
around
liberal
it.
use of the term.
Yeah, that's fair. But there are flowers.
You're not a little girl.
Yeah, but, like, you could plant flowers. Like, that's not that...
Nothing.
Like, it's weird that someone
I
chose to
hope
do
you
it, but
find
it's
your
not
own
weird that it
star of heaven
exists.
someday.
Yeah. Well, mines
Thank you.
certainly don't make any sense.
Yeah, the mines are really confusing.
Take good care of the girl.
Bro.
Now, I wonder if he's saying that because he thinks that it'll be significant to Rowan in the future, or what?
BFF.
I love it because it just look like, what are you?
My original theory was that long ago, our ancestors constructed Zenith in the image of God.
But if they
In
did that, then
scripture,
it would look like man, wouldn't
God
it?
was a being that ruled over the life and death of all things. Zenith's longevity control mechanisms have been well documented.
Of course. We'll just brush that under the rug.
Perhaps the girl is an exceptional case.
Perhaps. I think she would be the definition of an exceptional case.
Yes. I love that he literally just has like these two blueprints that make up God.
Or
Here's how you make
there's
one.
some
We should
other
post this to
system we
Reddit and see if someone
haven't
can make a
discovered
God.
The thing is, though,
After
is that
being
if I
brought
posted it to Reddit, the
before
only thing
God,
that we'd end up with is, like,
the hand
bunch
that
of cats.
guides man will be returned to him.
I'd like to believe that instead of a Bible, Zenith has like an instruction manual.
It's written all in Japanese.
Even if
Or
they
no,
use
it's
such
like
a
an
system.
IKEA instruction manual. It just has.
Oh, yeah, it's just like
has
weird pictures.
Yeah, none of them make any sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If Rowan knows of the girl's existence, my position is compromised.
But at this point, how does he not know if Rowan knows? And why wouldn't
You
Rowan have
ask too much.
confronted him?
A man cannot live if he loses more than 2 liters of blood.
So that's why his wrist has a bandage on
hurry.
it?
Oh,
'Cause
you're
his,
right. That
like,
is why.
8-year-old girlfriend has been sucking on his...
Oh, that's... Okay, that does make sense then, because that would have happened in the past, which is why he's not sure if Rowan knows.
What
Although it's
foul pit did
weird
you
that
cry
he and
out
Rowan
of?
continue working together.
You've nothing to fear, though it cost me
I love
my
how
life.
his face changes,
I,
like, a ton
Cardinal
from...
Painter, bearer
Well,
of
like,
the celestial
there's not
jewel,
actually a ton
will
of consistency
save
in
you.
any respects between any two of these pictures. This is
Judgment
like what happens when I try to draw things.
Oh, Peter, you're my hero.
Good lord.
This is freaking incredible!
Why won't someone just love him?
The first date!
Ooh, first date. Well, we better get ready for that one.
All
Guys,
right.
hear ourselves up, freshen up a little bit.
We're gonna cut it here, and we're gonna come back.
You should go get yourself some refreshment. Consider this an intermission
Yeah.
between the entire goddamn story of Residents of Fate.
Yeah. When we come back, hour number 2.